Welcome to Crypto 101, the home of value and good information when it comes to cryptocurrency trading and investment. And today is the day that everyone has been talking about. As we all know, we're expecting the Fed to cut rates this afternoon. But the problem is it going to be 25 basis points, 50 basis points, or 75? Because depends on the number that comes out of the data this afternoon will be what will propel the market. We can see BTC is just moving slowly since 3 weeks ago from around 113, 14K, still trading around 116,000. So that's about 2,000 or 3,000 points in 2 3 weeks. Why? Because everyone is waiting for today. And you've been watching the show, I told you guys I believe BTC is done with the whole parabolic rally we'll be expecting. I might be wrong, but I just believe it's better you be safe than sorry, because take a look at the chart. You can see the market moved from 15,000 US dollars to 125,000. That's a lot of gain in this bull cycle. And a lot of people are saying this rate cut is what we've been waiting for. We're going to check this money and see how other rate cut has performed on the chart, and we're going to use that to know what we should be expecting this afternoon. All right, my name is Ahmed Oladmeji Kazim, aka KC the Great, and this is the Bitcoin and Breakfast Show where we trade it and we do not gamble it. On this show, we take a look at the news, we take a look at what the market cap looks like. Also, we check what the event of the day look like. Also, don't forget, we dissect the charts and see if we should keep on to some of our project or we should remove some project out of our portfolio. And the last but not the least, which is going to be the sentiment, we also take a look at that to know how people are reacting to the news, the chart, and everything that is going on the crypto market space. All right, without wasting our time, let's dive into the economic calendar for since that is the event of the day and it's what everyone has been screaming on top of their voice for. Even the United States president, I'm speaking of Donald J. Trump, has been shouting they should have the rate cut for more than 6 months now. So we're going to take a look at that first before we move to the news aspect and see what the news looks like. All right, let's take a look at this. You can see on today's event we have only two red are very important, which is, you can see them, this is 4 and 1, but if you classify them as just 2, which is the BOC, the 400 out of Canada with the over BOC conference, also the 400 from the United States, and the conference also. And we're going to have the statement from the Fed Jeremy Powell later after the data comes out. Now, let's calm down and look at this. If you look at the last rate cut, you see when we stick to one rate cut, I mean when we've been, saying they should cut rate and they did not cut rate. After the cut rate, what happened to the market? We're going to take a look at that now. You can see this happened in 2023. That is from September 20, 2023, we were on the same rate, which was 5.5% for a couple of months until we have the first ever rate cut at September 18, 2024. Now, let's go to the chart and see what happened on that day when we had the first rate cut since everyone was waiting for it. Then we later had it over a couple of months. So let's go to the chart and see what September 24 looks like. Then if you scroll down to September 24, you're going to see we have it around this point exactly. So let's circle that. This is September 24. September 24, no. September 24 will be August 12. Yes, it's around this point. So now let's circle that point. we circle it, then we go to lower time frame. Let's go to like daily time frame. Okay, let's use daily time frame to actually see what happened there. You can see this is the daily time frame, and you can see September 24th 2024. You can see when the rate was cut, nothing serious really happened like that. Let's go to lower time frame on. Let's go to maybe 4 hours to see, maybe we're going to see a clear movement with the price after the rate cut. Yeah, this is, you can see we circulate. Now zoom in and let's look for September 24. This is September 24, and this was around when the rate was cut. So you can see that we do not actually see any movement. What really happened was we saw the market move around 62,000 back to 64 thereabouts, and even weeks later the market didn't do anything. Don't get me wrong, I am not saying today's rate cut is going to be like that, because we still need to look at the sentiment, and the sentiment has been bullish if the rate is being cut. But what I'm saying is, if you look at what happened last that's a couple of years ago, that's September when we have the rate cut, because the rate wasn't cut in like 50 or 75 basis points, nothing really happened. And it's the same thing we're going to witness today. If the rate is cut by 25 basis points, we might not see anything drastic happening in the market. But if we see 50 BPS or 75 BPS, yes, that is where I can now categorically say we are going to see BTC to like another new all-time high, like 130, 140, 180. But if we don't get anything above 25, I'm sorry to say we might just test the all-time high back, which is the 125 we've seen before, and we'll see altcoin 2 moving to the all-time high, then probably coming down from there, and we'll be waiting for another big news to push the market to where everyone is waiting for. Now let's leave that, let's move to another rate cut that happened after we have the 25 basis point. We were now sitting at 5.25, oh 5 point, excuse me. Now we now had another rate cut at the next month, which is November 7, and that one was 25 basis point as well. Now let's go to the chart and see what happened on November 7, 20, is it 2024 or 2025? 2024 also. So let's go to November 2024 and see. Hold on, let me just check it. Yeah, November 7, 2024. November 5, you can see the market already rallied November 5. Then here is November 7, 2024, and this is the time at which the rate cut normally happens, between 8 o'clock to 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock. So if you look at it, because I'm using 4 hours, so we're going to check it between 1600 to 2200. You can see that nothing really happened until weeks later before we now saw the rally moving ahead. So the same thing, I don't want you guys to think because we're going to have rate cut today, the market is going to shoot up to 240k, 180k thereabouts. No, it's never going to be like that. It's not going to be like that. Even what I'm thinking is, the best we can see, you can see the forecast that we're seeing here. They said the forecast is going to be 25 basis points. So if you're expecting 25 basis points, it's not really big like that, because everyone is shouting the Fed is late, the Fed is late. So they're expecting at least double rate cut, like 50 basis points, or we see 75 basis points. And we all know Jeremy Powell is acting because of the pressure from the president, pressure from the pro-crypto, pressure from the cabinet, and I know it's going to cut rates this afternoon, but I'm expecting 25 basis points. And if we see that 25 basis point, I'm not going to lie to you, the market might not really go crazy like that. Yes, we're going to see a pump. Don't get me wrong, we're going to see pump. Even on Jackson all day, we saw pump. We saw market move from 110, whatever to 120 something, then drop back. So we're going to see pump. Don't think we're not going to see pump. There's going to be a lot of volatility, but the truth is, at the end of the day, we might not see the 180, 240 everyone will be expecting. Just like when the president won the election, that the market skyrocketed from 70,000 to 100K, and or when the ETF was announced for the first time, the market moved from around 38,000 to 70K. We might not see something like that with this rate cut. But mind you, this is not financial advice. It's just for educational purpose and entertainment. And make sure you do your own research before you invest or put your money on any project. So with the rate cut coming up around 8 p.m. SAST time, that will be 6 p.m. GMT, and you can see it's so red because it's very important, and that is what everyone is waiting for to happen today or later today. So please, let's watch and see what's going to happen. And from tomorrow, we're going to see the reaction of the investors, the big banks, the retailers, and all of that before we can now decide what we're going to do with our portfolio. But we're going to check the chart to see where and how we can protect our portfolio against this big news that is coming later today. So that's that regarding the FOMC that we are waiting for, and the 400 later today. Now let's check what the market cap is looking like before the 400. You can see the market cap keep rising little by little. You could see when the Jackson Hole happened, we saw the massive movement in the market drop, and now the cryptocurrency market cap is now sitting at 4.1 trillion US dollars. So we've added about, I think, about 2 billion thereabout to the market cap since the Jackson Hole dropped back. But let's see if the Fed rate cut is going to propel the market. And you can see pump fund is still pumping because it's now the new thing everyone is looking into. If you're a creator, you want to launch a coin, you have anything you want to do, everyone is using pump fund to launch it. Remember the last bull run, it was Ethereum, ETH, and you saw the way ETH was performing even with the NFT. So I believe if you're going to have any meme coin season this year, pump fund is going to do well, Solana is going to do well, and even though NFT that is going to do well will be on Solana, and you need to watch out for that. All right, you can see the top gainers right here, the trending tokens, and if you look at the ranking, they're still basically the same. The top 10, BTC still at number 1, ETH at number 2, XRP at number 3, Theta at number 4, and we can see BNB has now moved up to number 5. Solana is now at number 6. USDC number 7. Dogecoin is still sitting at number 8. Lido Stake at number 9, and Tron has been maintaining top 10 for the past week. Now I think the community is really holding on to Tron network very strong. The likes of Cardano, Chainlink, Hyperliquid, and I have good news about Hyperliquid. You just need to stick around. I'm going to show you shortly. Hyperliquid, Sui, Avalanche, they are below top 10. They are within 10 and 20. If you're interested in knowing where your project sits on the cryptocurrency market rank, you might want to check out CoinGecko.com to know where your favorite cryptocurrency project is sitting on the rank. All right, I haven't checked the top 10 and all of that. Let's now dive into the news to know what is really going on with the news. And if you've not subscribed to the channel and you're just watching the show, or you're just watching the show for the first time, please subscribe, like and share, and do not forget to turn on your notification bell so you always get all this juicy content as we drop it for you every day. Also, you can follow me on X, Facebook, Instagram, and on TikTok to get more nugget that I have for you. And don't forget, I will start streaming live on Pump Fund, and you can join that also to get all these signals for free, educational content for free, and that will be on Pump Fund. The main handle is still remain the same, CryptoBean or CryptoBean 101. All right, without wasting our time, let's check what the news looks like before we check the chart and the market sentiment. The first news that caught my eye this morning is Bitcoin taps into 4-week high of 117 ahead of Fed rate decision. And I've just showed you that Bitcoin price are matching higher ahead of key Federal Reserve decision today, and that could alter the direction of the US monetary policy, and that will also affect any trading asset out there, be it stock, bond, crypto, whatever you're into, that will affect it, and we're going to see who's going to take the cup. All right, speaking of Bitcoin, let's take a look at another news regarding BTC. And now, global Bitcoin ETPs sees major inflow as US-based ETF leading the surge. And like I told you, if you watched the show last 2-3 weeks ago, I told you before the news, we're going to see this market start moving up back gradually, and exactly is what will happen. I said we shouldn't enter the market until we break 113,000, which we did, and the market has been moving slowly. And you can see Bitcoin exchange traded product globally saw a strong net inflow of 20,685 BTC, the highest since July 2022, boosting US spot Bitcoin ETFs holding to 1.32 million BTC. That is huge. The surge in demand participant from US Bitcoin ETF product signals potential price support and increased risk asset. So all this inflow, don't forget, Fed rate is coming out this later in the afternoon or later in the evening, depends on your time zone, and that might change everything we are seeing on the news. All right, still speaking of Bitcoin, we've now seen that about 75 million US dollar, or more than 75 million US dollars Bitcoin withdrawal strikes Coinbase on the eve of what? Fed rate verdict, and that is crucial. Major US exchange Coinbase faces about 75 million US dollar Bitcoin outflow ahead of Fed rate verdict, and that is really huge. Speaking of Coinbase, Coinbase also urges the DOJ to establish uniform crypto oversight amid state level conflict. We all know Coinbase is a big exchange because not only they are good for trading any type of cryptocurrency, but they serve as treasury company as well. They've been the major company holding all these big investment portfolios like BlackRock, Fidelity, the likes of them. Coinbase has been one of the custodian, and they have been doing so well. So they urge the DOJ to establish a uniform crypto oversight amid state level conflict. All right, let's move to the altcoin side now. And speaking of altcoins, you can see BNB, XRP, hyperliquid gains are main coin specific narrative ahead of key Fed decision that is going to come out later today. Altcoins like BNB, SUI, hyperliquid, and XRP are outperforming others ahead of Fed interest rate decision. Factors such as coin specification development and the approval of spot ETF for XRP are driving the growth in these coins. And I'm still going to share the news with you shortly. A lot of ETF approval has been submitted to the SEC, and we're going to see what the new SEC chair is going to do. We saw what Gary Gensler did during his tenure, that we know he was anti-crypto before he was sacked, or let's say he resigned, and Donald Trump approved this person. Let's see what we're going to get from all these ETF submitted. If they're going to gain approval, I'm not going to lie to you, if the Fed should cut rate more than 25 basis points, and we are seeing a lot of ETFs for altcoins being approved, let's forget about it. It's now going to be altcoin season 100%. But like I used to tell you, this is not financial advice. It's just for educational purpose and entertainment. Make sure you do your own research and trade with the money you can afford to lose. All right, let's take more news regarding altcoins, and you can see this is about Avalanche, SUI, and Bonk. Avalanche, SUI, and Bonk ETF test 6 as as issuers push into riskier territory. You can see we are now waiting for Avalanche, Sui, Bong, XRP, a lot of them to be approved by the SEC. And if all these are being done the right way and we get approval for them, that is going to skyrocket the altcoin market, and maybe that will officially kick starts the altcoin season. More news on the radar, and this is still about the ETF. Multiple crypto ETF applications submitted in a single day as hype over altcoins grow. Everyone wants altcoin season. Like I said, I think Bitcoin has tried this bull cycle. Let altcoins shine, then meme coins follow. Then we can wait for the next 4 years for another bull run. As you all know, we experience bull cycle every 4 years, excuse me. So now the SEC received a flood of crypto ETF application, including Bitwise's Avalanche stablecoins ETFs, Defiance's Bitcoin Ethereum basis trade, and Bong, Litecoin and Sui funds, and T-Rex leverage ops ETF as well. Analysts believe simpler products like the Spot AVAX ETF have higher approval chances. We are going to see that, and we're going to see how all of that is going to be handled. All right, let's take a look at another news, and this is still about altcoins. It's hyperliquid moment. Circle States season hypes over 1,500% surge with new investment. We all know Hyperliquid and Pump Fund, they've been competing regarding to meme coin launch, and we saw that yesterday Pump Fund pumped about, I think, 1,400%, and now Hyperliquid to now 1,500%. So the competition is all there. I think I even shared a video on my TikTok yesterday discussing about Hyperliquid versus Pump Fund. You can check that out on my TikTok handle. Still on the altcoin frenzy, Solana holds recent gain key level before another surge. The truth is, if you ask me what altcoins are going to do well this season, you need to look for altcoin that has anything to do with the treasury company, like the exchange company tokens, altcoins that has a lot of meme coin that has been launched on them, altcoin that has utility attached to them. I think they're going to do very well if we're going to have altcoin season. But you need to be careful, do your own research, and trade with the money you can afford to lose, as nothing is guaranteed in crypto trading. All right, let's check one more news before we now move to the chart analysis. And you can see new all-time highs expected year-end target at 4,304 ETH. So we're going to see how that is going to go about after the Fed cut rate today. That's what I have for you on the news segment of this show. Let's now move into what the chart is looking like. As we all know, BTC has been trading around 116,000 since yesterday, moving up to around 117, and now it's been dropping back. So what do we need to look at, and how do we handle this? Like we all know, the previous rate cuts. Now, looking at this, you can see it's still a buy. On my radar is still green. You can see the market is still pushing up. So Bitcoin is still a buy. BTC is still a buy. Now, where do we need to get out in case the news today is not favorable? That is going to be a crucial thing we need to learn, or we need to know. And this is where we need to get out. If we see the news not favorable and the market start falling, the moment we're taking out the last week green candle that we printed, I would say we should leave the market. But the main place we need to watch out is this 106,000 US dollar structure we have there. If we cannot break 106,000 US dollar structure we have there, I have hope it's just going to be a pullback. Then maybe we're just going to be seeing movement between that zone and all-time high before the market will now decide where it will go to. But right now, Bitcoin is still a buy, and you can still hold on to the position. Now let's move on to another cryptocurrency, and this one is ETH. You all know I told you Ethereum has been a buy. Even when BTC broke, the structure Ethereum was still holding on strong. So ETH is still a buy until we break 4,200 thereabout. Yes, that is when we can get out of ETH. But right now, ETH is still a buy and is looking strong. It might continue moving up as well. Let's take a look at Solana, because Solana too is doing great. And you can see from where I told you to get into Solana has moved from around 140 and is now trading at 230 thereabout. That is great movement for Solana. And if you look at the floor also is not broken. Solana also is still a buy, so you can hold on to Solana if you're having that in your portfolio. Let's take a look at BNB. BNB also, it's a buy. You can see it's still green, and everyone is saying probably BNB might break above 1,000 US dollar, but we're going to take a look at that. Let's take a look at SUI. SUI is, yeah, SUI is still a buy. You can see it's still above the green. Let's take a look at AVAX. AVAX also is still a buy, still above the green, but we need to make sure we watch $22. If we're breaking below $22, we might want to leave the market. Let's take a look at ADA. ADA also is a buy. You can see it's above the green. So majority of the altcoins, XRP, let's see, XRP2, it's still a buy. Let's take a look at Toncoin. Toncoin has not been doing great. Toncoin is not a buy until it breaks above $3.3, but majority of the altcoins, I think they are still maintaining the buys from the Jackson Hole. So we're going to see if this Fed rate cut is going to break the floor, that is the support, or they're going to hold on to the support and push higher. But from what we've checked this morning, most of the altcoins are still a buy, and they are still holding on to the gains from the Jackson Hole. All right, let's take a look at some meme coin, and we're going to start with Dogecoin. Dogecoin is still a buy and is moving nicely. You can see Dogecoin is still a buy, is moving. Let's take a look at Pump Fund. We don't need to argue that one. Pump Fund, it's a buy. You can see pumping from 0.01, now trading at 0.008. That is great movement. Let's take a look at Shiba Inu. Shiba Inu also is still a buy, but Shiba Inu has not really seen good momentum. Even with the Jackson Hole, it's been trading within this circle, and I'm scared we might see a dump that will break this floor. So one thing you need to watch out for Shiba Inu is if it breaks 0.011588, I think it's better we leave the market for Shiba Inu until we have a clear signal to get back into the market. So Shiba Inu 2 is still a buy, holding on, but we've not seen really good move on Shiba Inu. Let's take a look at one more token. Let's take a look at Pepe. Let's check Pepe out. Pepe and Shiba Inu, I think they are moving in the same correlation. You can see they've not really gained any momentums like that, and they've not broken the floor. So I believe the news today will prepare all of that, and we'll know what we need to do. So that's what I have for you on the chart analysis. You've been watching the Bitcoin and Breakfast Show, where we trade it and we do not gamble it. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do right now. It's CryptoBin101 on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on X. Also on YouTube, where you're watching us right now, it's CryptoBin101. Subscribe, like, and share. And do not forget to turn on your notification bell so you can be part of the greatness that is happening on this platform. But we cannot end the show without checking what the sentiment looks like. You know, you cannot trade against the sentiment, because if you do that, they're going to zap or take your money, because it's a lot of people believing in one thing. Until they see that they're wrong, then the market will move over. So the sentiment right now has been almost the same thing for a week, and you can see right now is neutral. Yesterday was neutral. Last week has been neutral as well, and last month is green. I believe everything is going to change after we have the Fed rate cut happen later today. All right, that's what I have for you on the show this morning. My name is Ahmed Oladimeji Kazim, aka KC the Great, and this is the Bitcoin and Breakfast Show where we trade it and we do not gamble it. Until I catch you tomorrow after the Fed rate cut, and we're going to see what the market is doing and how it's been performing after that rate cut. Trade well and stay out of trouble. Peace out.